I had a talk with my buddy, who's an artist, about EVS, the comic book industry, and Squirrel Girl. Trigger warning, he uses some very salty language. I asked my buddy why Squirrel Girl continues to be written. Who's it for? He said it's for fat chicks, that the original character has been destroyed. He said about the industry in general that it feels as if they are diversifying the old characters in order to get new customers, but they are losing their old customers. He's pretty left-wing, anti-Trump, but also a huge racist, Islamophobic, Christophobic, anti-Semitic, anti-trans. I told him EVS invited me on his show to yell at me. He said, why did he want to yell at you? I thought you were on his side. I am, but nobody's above criticism. What were you giving him shit for? His horrible, censored New York accent? Or New Jersey, even worse? I said, he's fighting with a bunch of old-school Comicsgate guys. He's a bit of a control freak. Turns out that artists are incredibly sensitive. Who is he fighting with? Did you call him Comic Artist Semi-Pro Secrets? Everyone is fighting with everyone. I mentioned he might lighten up. He invited me on to yell at me. It would be a dog pile. I said, if you meet assholes all day, you're probably the asshole. Did you tell him, don't you dare point your mechanical pencil at me. You read like a fourth grader. So I guess he watches his show. And he says, how can he deny that he isn't an asshole? Agree or disagree with him, his personality that he publicly displays is that of an asshole. Pretty much, if you fight with a dozen people, usually you are the issue. He says, he's a dick. That's not up for debate. Move past that and get to your point. I don't think anyone would describe him as a nice guy, but that's part of his charm. His dickery is entertaining. So I thought that was a pretty fair assessment. He is not a nice guy, he is a charming dick, which would make a good t-shirt. I told him that if I ever got any subs, I would try to crowdfund him a Wacom Cintiq Pro 32. It's a creative pen display touch. It's something digital artists use to create SJW comics, but it's $3,200, so he's going to be waiting a very long time. This is what he said about the comic book industry. I think it's gay right now. They're fucking up all these properties because you have these douchebag writers who want to put their stamp on everything, and they throw everything out the window. It's awful. I think comics are for homos now, at least the big two anyway. Indies will always be indies, but Marvel and DC are gay AF. The characters at least used to look like the characters, even if they were not behaving like the characters were supposed to. But now they don't even look like the characters anymore because they've been replaced with other characters help with diversity. It's so gay. I said, the writers seem to have forgotten how to tell stories, fun stories, escapist fiction. He says, they're making comic books for people who don't read comic books, so they're hemorrhaging money. They have this idea that they can win over a demographic that isn't interested in comic books and are subsequently turning away their real audience. Speaking of that, I made a video the other day about how marketing to your demographic was key, that it was okay to reject diversity. Don't beat around the bush, just say, I want characters that look like me. I'm not going to buy books that tell someone else's story. Hashtag reject diversity. Some guy in my comments said, what I see in my comic book shop and at conventions is 90% white men, 3% black men, 2% Latin, 2% Asian men, 3% women, and a 0.5% something I assume is human, but can't tell what gender they might be. I guess DC is really going for that 0.5%. I would title this video, An Artist Claims EVS is an Asshole and Diversity is Gay. But EVS would yell at me if he saw it, and YouTube would not be happy. Back to Squirrel Girl, or as my buddy puts it, the comic for fat chicks. Well, I don't know his page rate, but if I ever get $30,000 to $40,000 together, I'll have him be the artist on my graphic novel, so wish me luck with that. I'll try to do a live stream Sunday night after dark Pacific time. Got to start somewhere. But it will be horrible, so I advise you not to watch. I'll be chatting about Comicsgate, the problems within, and Ethan Van Sciver's role in the problems. So if you want to get on the show, I will put the link in the stream. Anyone is welcome to tell me to kill myself, faggot. Okay, back to Squirrel Girl. The thing you notice is the childish art style and the verbose text boxes, which seem to contradict each other. Now, when I was a kid, I would enjoy all these tiny text boxes. I considered it more entertainment, better value for my dollar. But these text boxes are written by idiots for slow but trainable children. The book is so overwritten, but none of it is funny. Just reading the first page is painfully dull. The problem isn't that SJWs aren't funny. The problem is they think they are funny, but have the sense of humor of your 30-year-old spinster aunt who really needs a man, but religiously reads the Huffington Post and Mary Sue that advises women not to marry and have babies until after 40, because 40 is the new 39 apparently, but I digress. There is a scene that is guaranteed to give both kids and adults nightmares. The squirrels cover people forming a squirrel suit which looks like feces. For some reason, the 30-year-old cat ladies who wrote this thought that this was hysterical. Oh, look, they're covered in squirrels. Adorable. Squirrels are just rats. The whole time you read this, you're thinking, these ladies really need to get laid. Oh, there are awkward scenes where the smart character tries to sound smart, but it's written by a dumb cat lady, so it sounds like a verbose, dumb character, like Kwanzaa does with his word of the day on Twitter, his bizarro vocabulary, where he learns the word of the day, and he tries to force it in, and it just sounds awkward. All I have to say about this situation is numino ultra microscopic silicon volcanoconiosis. What does that mean, Kwanzaa? I don't know, but Orange Man bad, and you're racist. But Kwanzaa, I'm a lesbian transsexual woman of color. I don't have the power to be racist, and you, sir, are oppressing me. There is one funny scene where the annoying character gets trebucheted into space, but that's about it. This comic isn't for kids. If you give it to your kid, they're gonna love you less. Dad, I have lost a little respect for you by giving me this insult to my intelligence. Oh, and they draw a female Hulk. But, of course, it just looks like a man with huge fake cans. So why make a female character if it looks like a man? Because men can be women. But then why did you give it tits? So you'll know it's a real woman. So only real women have huge jugs. Why are you trying to brainwash kids with this cultural Marxism? The answer is they don't want your kids to have babies. In a prior video, I made an offer to do some basic editing for comic books, and someone took me up on the offer, so I'll let you know how that goes. You can send me your artwork, and I'll use it as a background, your links to your Indiegogo, Kickstarter projects, or if you want to enter the Inkers contest, I'll email you the drawing. The winner will get something from the upcoming convention. Everything in this comic is cutesy silly Billy, but it's written by people who don't have kids, or they've been so. You know what? I take that back. I'm sure they don't have kids. They're so far away from childhood they don't remember that little kids really don't like to be patronized too. I mean, you have to speak in a language they understand, but there's nothing like the 30-year-old cat lady talking down to a child, and the child's just looking at the kid like, yeah, I may not be a genius, but you're acting as mature as I am right now. There's no need to talk to me like I'm developmentally disabled and I'm 8 or whatever. So this isn't for kids. They have these kind of text boxes. None of them are funny. They try to sound smart. You're talking about black holes and white holes and space-time, and stop. I know you don't care about that kind of stuff. It doesn't sound authentic, and you're just saying the words. You're not actually including the concepts in your story. So it's overwritten and it's kind of overdrawn. I mean, they put a lot of artwork, a lot of panels are on a page, you can see here, but they're pretty simple panels. They're not really knocking themselves out. And even as a kid, I didn't like this art style. I always thought this for little kids. And I mean, as soon as you start, if you're reading like Spider-Man or Daredevil or Iron Man from the 80s and before, well, you're seeing much better artwork than this kind of stuff. This kind of simple. These faces, I just think that's so annoying when they do that kind of stuff. Well, hey, no tits. Of course she has no tits. Oh, and Squirrel Girl is, of course, obese with no tits. She's just thick thighs. She couldn't even put her thighs together. They're so fat. Apparently, I was talking to my buddy, I think he said, I'm not that familiar with Squirrel Girl myself. I think he said Steve Ditko did the original Squirrel Girl, and I'm sure it was much cuter than this. And they put her in this this girl with no boobs. Well, she's a college student. She's like got to be in her 20s. For some reason, she has no tits, and she just has a huge ass. So that will make girls who have huge asses and no tits feel better. And what about the girls with the squirrel tails? That'll also make them feel better. She clearly doesn't want to be in this picture. They eat nuts, kicks butts. Okay. Why is this comic being canceled? I'm sure I have no idea. Oh, because it's written by these three cat ladies. I don't know, 30, 40-year-old cat ladies and a cat gentleman, who I assume his gender because he has a beard. These, why is it selling 8,000 issues? Is that what it's selling? I don't know what it's selling. It's not selling well. Who the hell... Did you pay your friends to write in to buy this comic? You think it's kids writing in? No, I think it's 30-year-old cat women. They have this weird belief where they think... okay, yeah, this is clearly written by an adult. They have this belief where they make things, SJW Comics, they make things that they think they need, other people should read. This is SJWs do a lot. They tell you what cars you should buy. You should buy a Prius. You look at them, you're all, well, do you have a Prius? Oh, no, I've got an SUV. The fuck are you doing telling me to drive a Prius and you're driving an SUV that gets 18 miles to the gallon? Oh, I think I know better what other people should do. We should get rid of the Constitution. Well, are you a genius who set up his own country with one of the most brilliant documents ever written? No, I live in my parents' basement, and I'm a socialist. So, okay, how many businesses have you started? How many people do you employ? What do you know about payrolls, accounts receivable, money in, money out? What do you know about stress of paying people's salaries? I've never actually had a business. I've never employed anybody. Well, I have. Most of us have. We've had small businesses and we've employed people and we've been employed. We know what business is all about. It's like once you leave college and you start paying taxes, you realize, oh, this really sucks. I'm paying for a bunch of illegal immigrants who don't pay into the system, but they want our money. Let me tell you guys, you can't afford to pay for Mexican healthcare. I realize I'm spurring it out a little bit, but it's the end of the video. No one makes it here anyway. Anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you Sunday if you tune in for that live stream. I'm sure it will be a shit show, but not in a good way. All right, see you next episode.